Hey, and welcome back to this new Pixel Ray tutorial. Today we will create a fighting scene with some basic modeling and texturing. We will use mixamo for the characters, and of course we will add some fog and some lights. Let's jump right in. Here we are on a fresh Blender scene, and today we don't use this cube. Let's delete this one. Instead we want to use here a cylinder. And let's change here the vertices to 64, and I want to change the radius to 0.5. Now let's make a right click on this one and shade smooth, and now we can go ahead and press tab for to go into the edit mode. Let's go here into the X-ray mode by pressing on this button here. Let's select the bottom points, and we want to go by pressing N here in this menu. We want to change the Z value now to 0. Let's select the upper ones, and we want to go here to 10. Now we have to do a loop cut. Let's press Ctrl and R and press here in the cylinder, and then you can press escape, and we want to change the Z value now to 0.25. Okay, now let's change the selection mode by pressing here this button, or you can press the 3. Let's go to 1 on the numpad and select here the bottom part. Now let's go here into extrude region and extrude along normals. Now we have to press down here this yellow handle, and bring this a little bit here to the outside to something which you like. I think something like this is cool. Let's leave now the edit mode by pressing tab, and we can leave here now the toggle mode as well. Now I want to add here a bevel modifier, so let's go to add modifier and bevel, and let's change the amount now to 0.02. Now let's add an array modifier to duplicate this one, and I want to change the values here now to 0 in the X, but 2.3 in the Y. Okay, and we want to increase the amount here to 3. Let's push this now in the X location to minus 2.75 and minus 3 in the Y. And we have to rotate this now to minus 180. So these are the left columns. Now let's duplicate this one again. And now we want to change the Y value to 3 and put the rotation back to 0. Okay, these are our columns here now. Let's create the floor by pressing Shift and A, and we want to use a plane. Let's change the dimensions here now to 10 by 20, and we want to push this a little bit back to minus 4 in the X. Okay, what we need now is some stairs, so let's create a cube. Let's change now here the scale to 0.125 by 10 by 0.125. Let's bring this to 1.1 by 0 by minus 0.1. And we have to add here another array modifier. So let's go here with an array and change this now in the factor and the Z value to minus 1. And we need a count of 3. What we need now is the back wall. Let's create this with another cube, Shift A and cube. Okay, now let's change the dimensions to 2 by 25.6 by 15. Let's bring this to minus 7.36 by 0 by 7.5. We want to have a little hole here inside, and to do this we need another cube. Maybe let's rename this here to back wall. This one will be our hole or bool. Yeah, and this should be here 4 by 7 by 7.4, and I want to bring this to minus 7 by 0 by 3.5. And now we can go here into the modifiers and select a boolean. Let's use this eyedropper to select here this cube, and now we can hide the bool cube. So now we are having here this this hole, and I think now it's time to change the camera, or so we will go ahead now to create the whole scene. So let's jump into the camera, and I want to go here now with 6 by 0 by 0.45. And let's rotate this to 103 by 0 by 90. And we want to use here a focal length of 19. Yeah, and as always, let's enable here the pass by 2. Yeah, now let's add here a second window. Yeah, today we want to use here cycles, so let's change it from EV to cycles, and we want to go here into rendered mode and enable here the GPU compute. So this is a little bit faster now. And yeah, now it's time to bring in the first asset from TurboSquid. So maybe let's go here now to import OBJ. We want to import here this Dragon 1. It's a little bit high poly. It needs a little bit time to import. Select this one and import OBJ. Okay, now this one is here in the scene. It's quite big, as we can see. Let's select this one, and we want to scale this one down now. Yeah, let's press S now, and we want to bring this down maybe to something like 2.86 in the X, something like this. I think that's 2.86 by 1.25 by 1.98 is a good size. And now we want to bring this here in the foreground, so we're having a little bit more detail here going on. So let's change this now to 1.8 by 3.5 by 0.3. And we want to have a rotation of 0 by 0 by 90. Okay, we want to duplicate this now, but we don't want to create a whole new mesh. So what we can do now is select the dragon and press, instead of Shift D, Alt D. And now when we are adding, let's press now Escape. And we want to bring this now to the other side to minus 3.5. And we want to rotate this now to 270. And the point is now when we are adding here a material on one dragon, the other dragon will get this as well. Yeah, let's start by adding here a material. So let's bring this a little bit up here, and we want to change this now here to shade editor. Yeah, and this one should be, yeah, something goldish thing. So let's use here some base color, which is a little bit gold. I want to go with this hex color here. Maybe let's rename this here to material dragon. I want to increase here now the metallic to 1 and turn the roughness down a bit to 0.345. Yeah, that's everything here for the material for our dragon. And yeah, let's go ahead here with the other stuff. Yeah, let's select our ground plane here, and let's make a new material, which will be something like a rock. We will use here some textures from Ambient CG. Let's use the Node Wrangler plugin. If you don't have this enabled here, go to Edit Preferences and search for Wrangler and enable this one. Now let's select the Principled BSDF node here and add Principle Setup. We want to use here the Concrete 22. I like to use here the color normal GL and the roughness. Now let's bring these three in here, and I want to change only here now the Y scale to something like this. We want to bring in here another node. Let's search here for a ramp, color ramp, and bring this into the between the roughness and the principle, and bring the black slider here to the right. So this one is a little bit more reflective here right now. Yeah, that's cool. Now let's change here the environment color to black. Okay. And now we can bring this material here to our other stuff. Let's select this one here, and we want to select here this, the back wall, and the stairs. That's really easier today because we are using a lot of light and it's a really dark scene. Let's go here back into our camera view. Now it's time to add here our characters. Yeah, and to do this, we want to use mixamo here today. Yeah, it's free. You have to sign up here, and yeah, you can go here to character. And I used here this one, crypto character. And now we have to go to animations and search for fight. I used here this fight idle animation. And then you have to go here to download and leave everything like it is and press download. Yeah, and after that we can go here to file, import our FBX. Let's import here this fight idle. As we can see, you have here this amateur, and yeah, we want to change here something so it should be a little bit more like a Mortal Kombat scene. So something like Sub-Zero is fighting against Scorpion, something like that. So we have to change here now the materials of our fighters. So let's go down here to amateur and select here the CH45. Here are the materials on this. Maybe let's go here to material preview. What we can do now to change here the colors, we have to find here this base color texture, which is this one. And now let's search here for a hue saturation value. Let's bring this here in between. And I want to change here now the hue to 0.1 by 2 by 5. And yeah, that's now a little bit more like a yellow fighter here. And I think that's okay here for our part. Let's shift the character a little bit to the side. And to do this, we have to select here now the armature, press N, and let's bring this now in the Y to 1.14. And as we can see here now, it's a little bit off here. So you can see here now, this foot is in the air. So let's bring this down and the Z value by minus 0.02. And now we want to duplicate the whole stuff. And to do this, we have to select this one and all the children's. So let's press Shift and select here now the CH45. And we want to press now Shift and D and then Escape. And let's select here the armature 1 and bring this now to the other side by changing this here to minus 1.15. And we want to rotate this guy here to 180 in the Z. And let's go here now again in the CH45001. And we want to duplicate this material here now by pressing on this button. And we only have to change now the hue value to 0.6. And as we can see now it's a kind of Sub-Zero on the left and Scorpion on the right. But yeah, you know what I mean. We can bring here more details here now to the gate. Yeah, I always try to reuse here some assets. Let's select here our left dragon, and we want to duplicate this one here again. So let's go here with Alt and D. And let's bring this now to minus 6.6, 2.1 by 9. Yeah, now we have to change here the scale. Let's go here with 5.68 by 2.48 by 3.94. And let's duplicate this one here again. Alt and D. Let's change this now here in the Y to minus 2.1. Rotate this in the Z value to 90. But I want to bring this a little bit more here, yeah, in the front, because this one is hiding here now on the wall. So let's change the X location to minus 6.3. Okay, now we're having a little bit more detail here on our gate. Now we can start with some light and some fog. First, let's use here our light, which is already in the scene. Yeah, I want to change this light here now into area light. And let's go here now with a hard bluish color, something like this. I want to leave this on 1000. Now let's change the rectangle size to 4.3 by 20. And let's put this here now to minus 1.2 by 0 by 11.3. And in the rotation, everything is 0. Okay, that is our first light. Yeah, let's create here some contrast to the foreground. We need another light. Maybe let's duplicate this one by pressing Shift and D. But now we want to change this now to something orange. And now let's push this back here to minus 12.7 by 0 by 11.3. Yeah, we want to rotate this. That light is hitting here in our hall or through our gate. So let's go with minus 15.4. And let's change here the shape of our rectangle to square. I want to go with 4.4 in the size. Don't forget to increase the power to 10,000. Yeah, now we're having here these cool lights here on the side and for our gate. Yeah, and to create this as a big contrast, we need another cube, which will be here for the fog. So let's change this now to 7 by 7.2 by 14. I want to bring this now to minus 8.2. Let's create a new material. We don't need the principled BSDF, so let's delete this by pressing X. And let's search now for a volumetric scatter. Let's pipe this one here in this and put this a little bit down to something grayish, and let's increase here the anisotropy to 0.42. Yeah, now let's go ahead here with another fog. So let's create a new cube again. Let's change this one now to 20 by 30 by 30. New material again. Search for volumetric scatter. Bring this one in here. Yeah, let's change the anisotropy to 0.15. It's a little bit dark here now, I know. But we need a noise node here, noise texture. Pipe this one into a ramp. And this one here into the color. And now we can bring down here the black slider a bit and the white slider to something which you like. We have to turn down the density to 0.1. And maybe let's play here now with the scale. So let's go here with 10 in the scale. Yeah, and I think that's looking good here right now. We have a good contrast here, but I think we have to add here a little bit more details here. And to do this, we need another light. And let's create a new one. Make a little bit more room here now. That is a light and a spotlight. Let's change the location here now to minus 0.6. And I want to go here in the Z value to 3.6. Let's bring the rotation now to minus 50. And yeah, we can turn this a little bit more in the white bluish color here. I want to increase the power to 5000. Yeah, and as we can see, this light is visible here now in our fog. To change this, we just have to go into the object properties and go to visibility and change the ray visibility and the volume scatter off. And now let's go back here into the light settings, and I want to change now the radius to 1.74 and the spot size of the beam shape here to 37.8 and the blend to 0. Now we are having a cool cool rim light here on our characters, here a little bit more on the dragons, and here some spots or some light here on the stairs. which makes the scene a little bit more readable here. If you want to render this one out, I used here again, or I use here the maximum samples of 256, and in the performance in memory the tile size of 256 as well. And I don't want to use here a denoise. That was this tutorial, and if you like my stuff, check out and subscribe to my channel. If you want to support me, you can hit the like button or check out my Gumroad or Blender Market page. See you there, and bye.